But if you look in the cell next to it in G173, that's a negative $249 million, which means we are now eating into that $2 billion cash balance, which we do not want to do. So in this case, we would want to draw on the revolver by $249 million. But then let's imagine in the next year, we have $1 billion cash available for our revolver, and now we have a $249 million balance. What do we want to do? We want to take some of that $1 billion and then use it to completely pay off our revolver. Or if we only had, say, $100 cash available for our revolver, we want to use all of that to pay down our $249 million balance, but we don't want to spend any more than that because then we start eating into our cash minimum. The simple way to construct this formula is by using a negative minimum. And I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to say negative min of my cash available for revolver and my beginning revolver balance. So let's see what that does. In this first year, it's saying I want to draw down $0, which is exactly what we want it to say. To get my ending revolver balance, I'm now just going to sum this up, my beginning revolver balance and my draw. And be careful not to include your cash available for revolver. That's going to mess up your formula if you do that. So only rows 174 and 175. Now I'm going to fill that right. And I'm going to fill my negative min formula to the right too. And look at what happens here. In our 2021 projected year, we have negative $249 million available for our revolver. Our revolver balance is 0. It's noticing what is the smallest number in row 173 and 174. And the answer is this negative 249, which is less than 0, obviously. It's taking the minimum of those two numbers and then flipping the sign. So it's taking that negative 249, flipping the sign to give us a positive 249 drawdown to make up for that deficit in our available cash. Then in the next year, it's looking at this negative cash available balance and our beginning revolver balance, taking the smallest one of those numbers, which is our negative 1.3 billion, and then drawing by that amount to make up for our deficit. Now let's go in and change this number just for fun to see what will happen if we have a positive cash available number. I'm going to make that a $1 billion, and you'll see that our negative min formula is looking at the smallest number, which is our 249 revolver balance, and then it's flipping the sign. So that positive 249 now becomes a negative 249, reducing the balance of our revolver. If this number were only 100, it's now making that a negative 100. It's looking at the smallest number between our cash available and our beginning revolver balance, which is that 100, and then flipping the sign, paying off only $100 million of our revolver. So that's a nice, elegant way to construct your revolver logic. Now that we have this section finished, I want to take my revolver draw and pay down and move that to my cash flow statement, because when I draw on my revolver, it increases my cash. When I pay it down, it reduces my cash. So I'll copy that, move up to my cash flow statement, and then paste a link right here in row 126 for my revolver draw and pay down. I want to common sense check this and make sure that it makes sense that this is a positive number. Now I have a 249 here because I'm drawing on my revolver, which is going to produce $249 million of cash. So yes, that should be a positive number and looks good. Our circularity starts with our net interest expense that we just completed. And like you see in the first bullet here, it shows up on our debt and interest schedule and then flows to our income statement. That net interest expense then flows into what you see as step 2 here, our net income. The net interest expense reduces our final net income, which, as you see in the first bullet, starts in our income statement, and then that net income number flows to the top of our cash flow statement. Our cash flow statement begins with our net income and then reconciles that income to arrive at our final change in cash and our ending cash balance. So our net income flows to step 3, our cash balance, which first shows up on our cash flow statement, then is linked to the top of our balance sheet, and then is used by our debt and interest schedule. And there, moving to step 4, that cash balance contributes to our interest income. The average balance of cash on our debt and interest schedule is what produces that interest income. And then finally, our interest income flows back into our net interest expense back to step 1. So you can see how this creates a circular calculation that flows into itself and comes to a final number iteratively.